any advice, whether it be for expats, African Americans coming down here, any info you'd like to share. Hey everyone, we're here with a special guest this week. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Wrenn. I live in Manta Ecuador, where I am partnered with a licensed real estate agent here in Manta. And so any real estate needs that you may have in Manta, please feel free to reach out to myself and my partner, who is Sandra Gonzalez.
And we will make sure that your information is in the description of the video, so someone can get in contact with you. First, Jewel, briefly, what brought you to Ecuador?
Well, it's not really a long story. Our son and daughter-in-law and their family came first. They came in 2014 after doing a lot of research about coming to Ecuador and looking at other places, Costa Rica, Chile, even some parts of Africa. And so they came in 2014. So we came to visit them in 2016 and fell in love with Manta. Knew immediately we were coming back, and that's kind of how we ended here. So yes, we actually followed our son here as opposed
to good. So, living here in Ecuador, what made you decide to get into real estate?
Well, I was a realtor in the States for almost 30 years.
Okay.
And so I when I first got here, I am retired, and I really do this at my leisure. And initially I kind of started out doing it because I had a lot of friends and people that would reach out to me that were coming to Ecuador. So I kind of started doing a little bit. I ended up meeting my partner, Sandra Gonzalez. I would go look at all the new buildings that were going up. She was a project manager on a huge project called Torrey Day at Mykonos, and I met her there, and we had a discussion. She speaks English, but she really wanted to have an American partner because she said she doesn't know a lot of the nuances when communicating with North America. Like she said, I know nothing about American football, for example. So she wanted somebody that could really click with her North American clients, of which she has.
Okay. So how are you liking the difference in real estate here in Ecuador versus the U.S.?
Actually, buying is pretty similar, other than it's in Spanish. So it's pretty similar. Renting is a little different in terms of they kind of make their own rules. Now, let me go back to buying first. In buying property in Ecuador, generally as a rule, there is no exclusivity. There's no buyer agency either. In the States, you buy a house, you're buying, you sign a buyer's agency agreement, and that person works with you specifically. Okay? Even with listing in the States, listings are exclusive. Here, that is not always the case. So several people may have access to a property if they're buying. And even my partner does not do exclusive listings. So if, for example, she lists the property, but the owner's son decides to buy it or the grandfather decides to buy it, no money is owed to her. Okay? So that's a good thing to know in terms of buying. As far as leasing goes or renting goes, it really depends on the landlord. Some people require 2 months deposit, some people require 1 month deposit. A lot of landlords put in their listing agreements that they want the tenant to be responsible for anything that breaks, which I think that's a bad idea. I would never recommend that a client sign that. I have seen several of them since I've moved here. So that I definitely don't recommend doing. But other than that, it's pretty similar. My Spanish game had to be upped a bit, obviously. But other than that, it's pretty similar. It's pretty much the same process. Just like when you buy a property in the States, you go to your realtor off-writes a contract, then it goes to the title and they found out that if the person selling is the actual owner, it's the same process here, that there are no liens, et cetera, et cetera. Here you go to the registro de propiedad to make sure that person owns it, that there are no outstanding liens. Now, the only difference is a lot of the contracts, not all, are usually done in a notary office, notaria. And they usually prepare all of the paperwork. They're just like a title company in the States. They prepare all of the paperwork, they do the contract, all of the paperwork, and then the buyer can actually have their attorney look at the paperwork in the office or the notarial office and send it to them. But it's pretty similar in that regard. Pretty similar.
So what do you recommend for an expat, whether it be Canada or US? What do you recommend they do when it comes to looking for property here in Ecuador, whether it be to rent or to buy?
Well, my recommendation is never buy right away. Never buy right away. First of all, you need to get the lay of the land.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people who have bought in places that they discovered they really didn't like. They came, they were enamored initially, and then as time went on, well, this is really not for me. I'd really rather be in the mountains or vice versa. I really like the coast. People that have bought in Cuenca or places with high altitudes have discovered, this is really not good for my health. So that's why it's best to rent. I recommend rent for at least a year. Another reason I do that is because you need to kind of find out where you want to be, how your neighbors are. For example, we have quite a few properties here in Manta that are known to be extremely noisy, particularly on the weekends. Excuse me. So a lot of people have bought in those buildings, but it's noisy on the weekends. They can't sleep. Cars are on the roads. People are got their boom boxes in their trunks. They're partying out on the street. So that's another reason. So if you bought in one of those buildings, you're jammed, really. So easy to buy, hard to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think you should really look around, take your time. We've been here 4 years and we haven't even bought yet. So weighing our options, and we know a lot of expats that have been here a long time and who have just recently bought for that reason. So, and for right now, depending on a person's situation, renting gives you a lot of freedom to check out other places. When your lease is up, you can move to Quito, you can move to Crucita, you can move to Salinas. So that's why I recommend nobody buy right now.
Okay.
Now, we interview other realtors, and for one of the questions I have, like on the coast of Salinas, a lot of the condos are furnished. Is that the same as in Manta when you want to rent a condo? A lot of them are furnished because it's near the coast, or is it half and half or less than?
You can get, most of the things here are furnished. Most of the houses are not furnished, but most of the condos are furnished. If you're looking for a house, you might find one that's semi-furnished. You may have a few things. And here's the thing, unfurnished here means just that. You may not have any blinds. You won't have any appliances. You may not even have certain light fixtures. You won't have. So unfurnished means just that, a bare shell, generally. If you find an unfurnished place that has air conditioning already installed, that's a good thing. But places that are unfurnished have no mirrors in the bathrooms. You got to put up your own towels. You got to put up your own mirrors. So that's unfurnished. But most of the things on the coast, you're correct, are furnished. And even in Quito, most of them are furnished. So you can always find a furnished place that's part of your requirements.
Okay. Now, I was not aware that when you said unfurnished, I was just thinking no furniture. But when you're saying no AC, no appliances, that's interesting. Okay.
I've even been in places where there weren't even really any nice light fixtures. Yeah. They take the ACs out, they take everything out. So no appliances, nothing. No blinds, no curtains, nothing. Blank shell. Like I said, occasionally You can find an unfurnished unit that does have air conditioners installed like these, but that's not always the case. So when you say unfurnished, you need to really be specific. I need air in my unit. I need that to already be there. Yeah. And so yeah, that's what that means. My son told me when we first, he said, Mom, y'all don't want unfurnished. Unfurnished is a whole nother animal. And he was right. So, yeah.
So
and we have a couple of friends that have rented unfurnished places, but here's the thing. And if you got a long-term rental, that's great. But what if something happens and you got to go to the States? Now you got to try to sell all this stuff. You see what I'm saying? In our case, we came in with our suitcases. That's it. We're done. I like that freedom, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, speaking to that, I was going to ask you, what do you recommend that people bring? I know you deal with a lot of different people, so I'm sure you run across situations where someone says, "Oh man, I wish I had this. I wish I brought this." You know, so we came just like you. We came 2 suitcases apiece, try to minimize everything that was possible. Realized there were a few things that we wish we had brought. So what are what's your list of things that you wish people would bring?
That's a good question. I get this question a lot. Number one, don't bring a lot of clothes.
Yeah.
People come here with 5 or 6 suits. I'm like, where are you going? Don't bring a lot of clothes. If you're on the coast, I recommend shorts, t-shirts, flip-flops, a light jacket, maybe a pair of jeans, maybe a long sleeve shirt on the coast. If you have big feet, size 9 and up, bring shoes. Ain't no shoes down here for you. So I know this from experience. So definitely need that. Hair care products for African Americans are not that easy to find, so I definitely would recommend that. Good sheets and towels, because the quality here is lacking and they're expensive. That for sure, but just about everything else you can get here. Now, we did bring our own Ninja Foodie air fryer. You can get air fryers here, but you can't get that brand, which, you know, the Ninja Foodie and things. So we brought that. But other than that, most spices you can get here. That's really about it. Just don't bring a lot of clothes. Weigh yourself down and spend all that money transporting stuff. I don't even recommend people bringing a container. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
You know, very expensive. And then people don't, and if you probably have noticed, you don't really see any storage places like you do in the States. They have so people bring the container. What you gonna do with the container when you unpack it? Where you gonna put it while you're waiting to unpack it? People don't really think that through. Yeah. So I say travel light. That's my recommendation. Travel light. You know, medicine, obviously, any medicines that you take, I would bring those, obviously. But a lot of those you can get here as well.
And you get them really easy too.
Yes. I love it. I absolutely love it. My inhaler in the States, as I mentioned, I'm an asthmatic. My inhaler in the States was $58 with insurance. I buy my inhaler down here, tier 1, which my insurance wouldn't cover in the States. They maybe take a cheaper version, tier 2. I get tier 1 down here, over the counter, for $9.43. Unbelievable.
Yes.
Just all I need, Ventolin. It's okay. That's it. Yeah. And another good medicine that I'm going to say, what I really like, you don't have to buy the whole box. Say, for example, you hear horror stories in the States about people short of money. Well, I don't know when I pay rent, I'll get my medicine. Here, you don't have to buy the whole box of medicine. You can go to the pharmacy and say, oh, give me 10 blood pressure pills today.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. I had a cold when I first came in 2018, and I went to get some cold medicine. My daughter-in-law said, you don't have to buy the whole box, Mom. You know, over-the-counter medicine. We all throw it away all the time. Buy stuff over the counter that doesn't work, and you end up all this medicine in your medicine cabinet. She said, Mom, just buy 5 pills to see if they're going to work for you. I thought, this is brilliant. How come we never thought of this in the States? You know? So I love that aspect of it. And if you keep your box, say for instance, if you do go to the doctor and you have a prescription, you don't have to go back to the doctor. You can just take the box and they'll refill it.
Yeah,
So
we found that out. We found that out. Yep.
Go back to the doctor. You gotta make another appointment. You got, just take the box. So I keep all my boxes.
Yeah. I even took a pill bottle I had from the state. I had a prescription, took it. He said he went in the back. Oh yeah, we got this.
I love it. I love it. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. So that aspect I really, really love. About the medicine and that kind of thing.
Now, as far as location wise, like when we got here for as a foreigner coming from the States and they're not familiar with, I guess you can say, realtors here, you go online, you're trying to find somewhere to stay. What is your suggestion when you're finding a realtor? Should you just stick with one realtor and give them your preference of what you're looking for? Because I know sometimes with minimum realtors, you're limited because you're working for so many people.
Exactly. I recommend, there's really not a multiple listing service here like there is in the States, where individual can just search. There's no Zillow. There are a couple of brokerages that you can go on. That's Plus Valia. There's this brokerage that my partner's a member of, Immobiliaria. You can go on places like that. But generally, a multiple listing service like we're used to in the States, there really isn't. You can find specific sites. So I would recommend that join Facebook groups for the areas that you're interested in, like Manta or Salinas or Cotacachi or Olan. That you can get a lot of information from there. And then, reach out to as many people as you can, because here's the thing. I'm actually looking for a new apartment myself. And I'm in the business and I'm not having a lot of luck. I'm looking for 3 bedrooms. So I reached out to my partners looking. I have some other people looking. I'm looking. So I would recommend that you reach out to as many people as you can, like I said, because there's really no exclusivity. Okay? You won't get in trouble or have to pay an agency fee if you use multiple realtors. So that's not a problem. I recommend you use as many as you can to find what you're looking for. Right. Definitely. That's what I'm doing.
How has the market changed in your 4 years here?
Well, Manta specifically has gotten more expensive.
Yeah.
Manta's moving. We got a very young progressive mayor who's in his 40s, very, very sharp. Manta's got a lot of big projects going on. Grand Bay Marina is one that's huge that I saw advertised when I was in Quito. And because of a lot of these big projects, a lot of the landlords feel they can get more money. And a lot of people feel that during the pandemic, they lost money and all of that. But here's the thing. That's one of the reasons I haven't found what I'm looking for, because I'm not paying these exorbitant prices.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are not all. I've seen some really nice properties that are, I think, not worth it. But I've also seen a lot of substandard properties that definitely are not worth it. So I'm holding my ground, but definitely it has gone up. And I was talking to a realtor yesterday, and she said, they're trying to turn it into Costa Rica. She said, this is how Costa Rica was before the boom of all the expats. And a lot of these people are paying these prices, which makes everything rise. But I'm holding my guns. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I can stay here, which I love our apartment. We only needed an extra bedroom because we're getting ready to have another grandbaby. Yeah. So we bedroom. But other than that, yeah, it's changed. It's really gotten more expensive since we've been here in the 4 years. Yes, definitely.
Well, Jewel, lastly, do you have any advice, whether it be for expats, African Americans coming down here, any info you'd like to share?
Well, yes, actually, for African Americans, I would request that you guys join our group, African Americans in Ecuador, Part 2. We have a wealth of knowledge and information there. We have people that are part of the group that live all over the country. We have people in Cuenca, we have people in Zamora, we have people in Cotacachi, we have people all over Quito. So there's a wealth of information there. And just do your research, find out where you want to be. The country is extremely diverse. Some people don't like the coast. They said it's too hot. Not hot to me. I'm from Mississippi, but some people said it's too hot. Some people like Point in the mountains. Too cool for me, but they like it. So kind of do your research, decide what climate you like, what activities you like. If you like big cities, if you like small towns, do your research and figure it out. You know, that's what I recommend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's same thing we recommend. That's what we did. And just trying to eliminate all the other countries from the list, see which ones are better for us to come to, which one's the most least expensive, easiest visa process. And you know, Ecuador kind of checked most of those boxes. That's how we ended up here. Yeah.
And I would suggest when people do come, you know, venture out, visit all of these provinces so you can see, like you said, what works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what works for me.
We're doing that now because, you know, with the pandemic, you guys weren't here, but in the pandemic in 2020, the whole country was really shut down. And we had a 2 p.m. curfew. We had to be in the house at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
And that was tough. That was tough. And my building at the time would lock the front door, so you couldn't even go out. So, but now that things have eased up somewhat, we have been going to, so we've been up the coast, Esmeraldas, Tansupa, and some of these other places, and Quito, and Cotacachi, and Otavalo. But you gotta branch out to see what you really like. You know, to really see what you like, because it's very diverse. We got friends that live up near the Amazon, in Macas, in Tena, which is the gateway to the Amazon. So, you know, beautiful properties. It just depends on and what you love. Yeah. Me, I like the ocean, but a lot of people want to be in the mountains, you know. So that's fine. To each his own. It's something here for everybody. That's what I like.
That's true.
Definitely. Well, we definitely want to thank you for joining us.
Yes.
We saw we're 4 hours away, and you know we can't do it in person. But you know,
soon, hopefully. We were talking about it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for having me. Anybody watching, feel free to reach out. Not a problem. At my time, I'm retired. Call me on the phone, send me an email, whatever you desire. And thanks so much for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you guys soon.
You will. And thank you so much for this. All right.
Have a good one.